We're now going to make a key keeper for our Classico handbag, and you only have two pieces, and so this is really simple. So we're going to start with this piece, which is the semicircle with a little bit cut out, and I'm just going to top stitch around the outside edge and this inside edge using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Let's just turn the machine on, that always works better that way. I'm just going to do one back stitch at the beginning and the end to secure my threads. Take it nice and slowly. Take it really slowly, one step at a time, one stitch at a time around that central semicircle, just because it is quite tight. And then stitch at the end to secure your threads. Get rid of any excess threads, and then we're going to do exactly the same around the outside edge. I am using a Teflon foot for this because this has to be made either in faux leather or cork. You can't do this in fabric. And this is just a quick and easy little project just to kind of give you the finishing touches to your bag. And you don't have to be using the hardware to use this. You could add a charm or a bead of some sort inside. It's just to give the look. I haven't actually changed the thread in my machine, so I've got a different colour in the bobbin than I have in the top. So when I do my strap, it's going to look a bit odd, but nevertheless, I've stitched all the way around the outside and all the way around the inside using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm now going to fold that in half, wrong sides together, and I'm going to stitch along that straight edge using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. One back stitch to secure my threads. Oh, daisy. That's it. So we've now secured that, and I'm just going to turn that right sides out. And I'm going to push it flat so that the seam that we've just created is centrally on the back, and I'm just going to stitch it down each side. Now you may wish to add a clip just to hold that in place. As you can see, the seam is centrally on the back of the strap keeper. And it's always better to have the same colour thread in your bobbin as you have in the top. And if you stitch from that top stitching line down to the second top stitching line, it works really well. So that's one line of stitching. Get rid of my thread ends, and the same on the other side. And I'm stitching 1/8 of an inch away from the side of the strap keeper. And there we have it. You can see that stitch line is 1/8 of an inch away. So pop that out of the way, and then we have this 3/4 inch panel, and I've marked a line that is 1/4 an inch away from one of the long sides, and then I've added a little tiny bit of double-sided tape. Now this is it claims to be 1/8 of an inch wide, so this is ideal because it doesn't get too, it's not too bulky. I buy it from eBay. It's used in mobile phone manufacturing, apparently. I didn't realise there was double-sided tape in a mobile phone. Now, depending on how thick your faux leather is, you may also need to clip, because, look, Daisy, because because it's such a small panel, it sometimes resists being folded. So I'm going to fold the side that is the sort of the larger side, so the 1/2 inch side. I'm going to fold that raw edge over so that it meets that 1/4 inch mark. So the double-sided tape should hold it down. Sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on how thick your faux leather is, because sometimes, because this is such a small panel, the faux leather just kind of pings back if you're using quite thick faux leather. And this is a chieftain faux leather, so it is a good thick upholstery grade faux leather. So sometimes it will kind of ping back, but you can see there that's folded over. And now I'm going to take the second side and I'm going to fold it in. Now this will not go right to the other side, and it won't go right to the other side because we have to take into account the turn of cloth. So this little bit that's on the side where we're folding, you find that the seam will come, or the raw edge will sit more or less centrally, sometimes not quite, sometimes a little bit further over. And this can be made from scraps, literally. And I'm just clipping in place. You could add another bit of double-sided tape, but I'm not a fan of the stuff. So I try and not use it if I can help it. You could use glue. If you prefer to use glue, that's fine. You could edge paint the side of the strap connector, the key keeper, if you really want to, if having a raw edge bothers you. It's only a little detail, but it does, if you wanted to do that, then obviously you'd need to do that in advance because it takes a little while to dry. So I'm just going to keep going with my clips until I get to the other end. What we're left with is a very, very thin strap. So I'm now going to stitch, and I stitch from the side where the raw edge is all the way down, and I'm making sure that I'm stitching that raw edge down all the way from one end to the other. And this is where it shows that I haven't actually changed my bobbin thread, because the thread that you will see on the front of the strap is a different colour. So do take them just a moment to change your thread. I'm just going to use, it's not an awl, it's a seam ripper, but it happened to be what I had handy here, so I'm just using that to hold that side in as I stitch, because it does try and ping open as you go. Now, a line of stitching will be pretty much centrally down the middle of the strap. It is quite fiddly to do. because the keys that we get with these hardware packs are quite small, you do need a fairly thin strap. Now you could, if you really wanted to, make 2 individual straps and put them right sides together, so that wrong sides together, so that you'll end up with raw edges on both sides. But I don't know that I don't feel that that's necessarily strong enough for a strap that is so narrow. This feels a little more secure. It does also feel a bit like you're flying by the seat of your pants, because this is very, very narrow. And trim off any thread ends that you've got. And there you can see we have one long, very thin strap. So we're going to take our key, and these are tiny, these keys, and we're going to thread one end of our strap through our key. It is a snug fit, we don't want it to be loose and jiggling about. And we're just going to fold it over by approximately 1/2 inch. So you can see that that's threaded on there, and it's just folded over about 1/2 inch. Now you could, if you've got tiny rivets, you could pop a rivet through there. If you haven't, then you can just oops, lost my foot pedal. Do a couple of stitches just to secure that key onto the strap. Then we'll take our first part, and we're going to take the end of the strap that doesn't have the key on and thread it up through the key keeper and out of the hole at the top. And it should be a nice snug fit, so that key's not going to go any further. It's only going to go into the key keeper. It won't go out any further. Now, if you wanted to do this and make it before you put your handles on your bag, then ideally fitting it then is a great idea. If not, let's just take this bag. You're going to pop this around the strap, and then the other end, this end, you're going to fold it around that first strap. So what you're going to end up with is something that will slide through. And again, you're going to take it to the machine and just pop a couple of stitches through there to hold that little loop that you've created in place, or you could pop a rivet through if that's what you prefer. And there you go, you have a perfect little key keeper. So you could add a charm if you're using a buckle and you don't need a key. You could add a pretty little charm. You could perhaps add something with perhaps somebody's initial on it, a charm with an initial on it, or if they like butterflies, or if it's something that like poppy fabric, you could add a flower charm. It's just a sort of a pretty finishing, oh, daisy gone, detail that would be on the original style of bag, this sort of style of bag. So folding your strap keeper around there so that you've got this little loop, and there you go. Ever so easy, ever so quick. Needs to be done in faux leather or cork because it is a raw edge design, It's just a little additional detail.